Hello. Maybe I have a mic. Hello, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As I sat there and watched this video, as I listened to the fabulous comments that both Sean and Sandy gave today, I can truly tell you I'm honored and blessed to now be the new leader of this organization. It gets me even a little bit choked up because I'm really passionate about the work that we're doing. When we came originally to this community, we were blown away. We were blown away by the opportunities that we have here and really excited for the future. So as we are here to celebrate, which we're supposed to be celebrating, so I hope nobody's asleep, Joe. I told Joe Raso I would call him out because he said he was going to be napping by this time of the program. So, but just so you know, I want to say thank you all for being here. For those of you that have taken the time to be here in person, it means a great deal to us. One thing that I've noticed that significantly sets us apart from all the other communities that I've been to is that this community, beyond anyone else, shows up. You show up for one another. You show up for your fellow community members. You show up for events like this. But more than anything, you just show up for each other. And that's what makes the difference in this community. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the vision of where we're headed, certainly honoring the past of where we've been. But I want to also hope you don't mind for just a minute. I'm going to indulge me and let me share a little bit of my background and my past, because I think it will help set the stage for where we're headed. Don't worry, you won't get this every single year. This just happens to be my first year, so you get to have it this year. So I grew up in a small town, northwest Wisconsin. I'm a Midwest girl through and through, 1,100 people in my town. Grew up in a very middle-class family where I was taught the value of working hard, being honest, and standing up for what you believe in. So as I went through college, trying to figure out my way, majored in communications because that was easy, still didn't know what I was going to do. And lo and behold, stumbled my way into the chamber exec position. No, I was not aspiring to be a chamber president my entire life. In fact, I would say that most of my colleagues that I've made over 21 years have never aspired to be a chamber exec, but just end up in this position. But at the ripe old age of 24, I was in the Minneapolis marketplace, volunteering like many of you volunteer with the chamber, figuring out how I wanted to be engaged and involved and make a difference and an impact. And the exec of the chamber that I was involved in, a small little chamber, the Fridley Chamber of Commerce, said to me, I'm going to be resigning in 6 months, and I think you should take a look at this position. Now, you can imagine my surprise at 24 years old. I said, I guarantee you, I have no idea what the hell you do, nor am I qualified for it. So, but this is where the power of mentorship is, because she took me under her wing, and for 6 months, she taught me core values around collaboration and the importance of seeing others' interests before yourselves. She told me about having courageous will to tackle tough problems and tough issues. And she also talked about the power of collaboration, that we can do anything if we do that all together. And so the board of directors maybe didn't know what they were doing because they did hire me at 24 years old. And I started my chamber career there. 5.5 years later, I decided that I was 30, single, and sick of winter. So I was going to expand my horizons elsewhere and ended up in Melbourne, Florida. And what was fascinating about Melbourne, Florida is it's this great beach community, 16 communities. You see the photo on the screen. One of the greatest, most impactful pieces of my career there was we had the opportunity to work hand in hand with our military each and every day. Patrick Air Force Base is a very sought-after Air Force base. It's there in Melbourne, Florida. And I had always had a love of the military, but truly was able to understand what the impact of our military was on our community and on our country. And so I know that many of you have served in the military, continue to serve in the military. I'm so excited about the opportunity that we get to partner with our active soldiers here in our region. So thank you to both the Air Force and the Air National Guard that we continue to support. Chris Dmitrovich, thank you for being here. Thank you for your service. We look forward to the future and partnering together. So as I was in Melbourne, one of the things I realized quickly about an hour, maybe more than that, a year and a half in, was that there was this sense of community that was lost. It's a great community, but it's a transient community, and one that core relationships and that community support was something that I loved in the Midwest and didn't find. And so the other thing was hot and hotter were not the two seasons that I wanted. So I found myself in a brand new community and a brand new set of challenges. I arrived on the scene at Cedar Rapids, Iowa, 2 months after the disastrous flood in 2008. It still chokes me up because this is what our city looked like. So when I talk about flood recovery and flood protection, there is a heartfelt need for me to want to make sure that we see that through to fruition. At this time, as the Chamber was the only advocate for the community. We had to fight really hard, lobby really hard at the federal level and at the state level to rebuild this destroyed community at the same proportion at which it was destroyed. Oftentimes we want to rebuild, get people back in their homes, but we forget about the fact that businesses are the whole reason why a community exists. That in order to pay my mortgage and provide for my family, I have to have a solid business community. So the Chamber was that. We did a lot of flood recovery. I spoke a whole new language of acronyms that I will never forget. But it was the courageous leadership of many. And Cedar Rapids is a beautiful, beautiful community post-flood. Then I was recruited to Appleton, Wisconsin. I got to go back home to the mother state, right? This is where I was all excited, plus I'm a diehard Packer fan. So I was able to, don't hold that against me. I just heard some of you like, oh, everyone has their faults, so if you happen to be a Viking fan, that might be yours. So as we were in the Fox Cities Chamber, this was a community. The Appleton community reminds me a lot of the Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo region. It has a dynamic, robust downtown with continued activity, but it also has vibrant suburbs that have their own identity, yet realize the importance of all working together. This was a community that also realized that collaboration was the only way we were going to get something done. So we did a ton of work on talent and workforce. The Fox Cities Chamber realized that we needed more effort on talent and workforce, and especially on economic development. So we formed the Fox Cities Regional Partnership under the Chamber's umbrella, and I got my first taste at truly doing workforce and talent work, which I so loved. Unfortunately, my father then became ill, and I had to make a really tough decision. My husband and I and 2 young children then moved back to Minneapolis to support my father in his care. And I had the great privilege of leading one of the most iconic chambers that I had known of to date, which was the Twin West Chamber. This chamber serves 10 of the western suburbs of Minneapolis, a very active public policy chamber, very active membership with about 1,900 members, very similar size to here. But one thing I found about coming back to Minneapolis is that it is extremely bifurcated and fractured. There are a lot of people that are out for their own organizations, their own self-interests, and it was very difficult to get anything done. For example, 29 local chambers of commerce exist in the metro region alone. So we had a very diluted brand, very diluted impact, and literally almost no influence. And so when I got the call from the recruiter to look at this position here in Fargo, first of all, I passed. The first time I said no. But the second time, because he's persistent, as most recruiters are, when he came back around, my husband and I talked about this and said, well, what do we know about Fargo? You can probably imagine what we knew about Fargo. I had spent half of my career in the Minneapolis marketplace and had never been to the Fargo region. So when I came, you can imagine, I was pleasantly surprised that it didn't look or sound like the movie. Guess what? The winters really aren't that much colder than Minneapolis. And what I found was unbelievable and unexpected. I found people like all of you, people that are passionate and care about where we're headed in the future. This was the type of community I wanted to raise my now 8- and 6-year-old children in. This was the type of community that my husband and I were saying, we want this to be our home, not just for a little while, but for a long time. And so when as we look kind of at the organization, I have also been blown away. So when we got into this kind of this next phase of the chamber, first and foremost, the first thing I did was try to learn and continue to learn as much as I can about each and every one of you and about the community and the region that we serve. But the second part of it was to truly honor the legacy that Craig Whitney laid for all of us. He was a passionate man that gave a tremendous amount to this community, and we will forever have gratitude for that. But we will also continue to honor that legacy and build upon that foundation for where we're headed in the future. So it's going to take some courageous will. To Sandy's point, a disruptive mindset. I will tell you, when I interviewed, I flat out said, the search committee, many of you guys are here, that I am a catalytic leader and a disruptor. And if you don't want that, please don't hire me, because neither of us will be happy. But I am really excited about the collaborative opportunities that we have together. So many of my partners are sitting here close to us, whether that's the CVB or the EDC, Downtown Moorhead Inc., Moorhead Business Partnership. I could go on and on about the organizations that have similar missions to the Chamber. In fact, I would argue we probably have the same mission, to be a catalyst for growth and prosperity. And how we come together to deliver that is what makes this community as great as it is. So as we talked about our cornerstones of work, you saw them so well depicted. Thank you to those of you that took the time to talk about your story within our chamber. But when we look at business vitality, public policy and advocacy, talent and workforce, community excellence and enhancement, and finally, organizational excellence, we're positioned really well for the future. These will be our cornerstones for now into the future. We need a strong team. We need all of you to be engaged, to work with us, to challenge us, to even disagree with us at times, because we need that kind of push-pull. As we look at that first cornerstone, that's really the first one that's internally focused, is all around organizational excellence. Each and every one of you, I know, aspire to have high-performing organizations, which means you need high-performing teams. You saw Patrick Mensker on the screen. We've brought Patrick into the fold of the chamber. We're going to go through the Entrepreneurial Operating System, EOS traction. He's going to lead us through that. I'm really excited about this. This is all about investing in our people. I am just like all of you. We want to retain our team members. I don't want my people going anywhere, but I will tell you right now, all of you try to steal them all the time. Don't do that anymore. We have a very talented, gifted team. And I'll just take a minute, to ask my team members that I get to work alongside every single day to stand and be recognized, because these team members are passionate about what we do. They're committed to the partnerships that each of us bring, and they bring a very diverse skill set to the table. So to my chamber team, I'm so blessed to work with you every day. Could you stand for a round of applause, please? I hope they're still in the room. There they are. So we also can't do this without great leadership. You've heard that we've got a new board of directors. You saw those today. For the sake of time, I won't say anything more than thank you. Thank you for your leadership and for your trust in the fact that we can run this organization really well together. The second cornerstone, the one I'll briefly touch on, is on public policy and advocacy. This one is also a love of mine. I made 5 trips to Bismarck this year in person at a time that it mattered for us to show up. It mattered for us to create relationships. We also did a tremendous amount of outreach to our Minnesota legislators, and although that was a virtual type of an experience, we also formed really strong and continue to form really strong relationships there. I also sit on the U.S. Chamber's Committee of 150 chamber execs from all across the country that help the U.S. Chamber shape their policy positions. So although we may not always agree lockstep with the Minnesota Chamber, or the Minnesota Chamber, how about the U.S. Chamber, nor the Minnesota Chamber, nor GNDC. See, I have all of them here because Eric's here as well. We may not always agree. The one thing we do is we have respect for one another and to what is doing the best thing for our own local communities. So, Senator Hoeven, thank you for your leadership and thank you for being here. We look forward to working with you and all of the rest of our congressional delegation as we move this entire community, but also the entire state and the region forward. So the second piece of the public policy piece, you'll see a lot of new things. We have a new legislative review, if you haven't seen it yet. It has a little bit of accountability metrics for our elected officials, of which we are so grateful you're taking the time to serve in elected office, whether that be at the local level, at the state level, or the national level. But the Chamber will continue to work alongside you and continue to challenge and push you. So this is a legislative review that specifically is around how did our legislators vote on the most important issues that we had in front of us. So we also realize the relationships that we need are going to have to be much more significant. So we've engaged and invested in a new contract and a new relationship with Primacy Strategy Group. Many of you know Primacy. They have a significant presence already in Bismarck, in St. Paul, and at the federal level in D.C. The Primacy crew is here today, I will joke with them, the ones that count are here today because the CEO isn't, but that's how we give them grief. So we're looking forward to working with Primacy to strengthen our legislative issues, to strengthen our impact and our influence as we go forward. We'll also continue our Eggs and Issues program. We also have a new piece. You heard a little bit about the Energy Summit that Sandy talked about. This upcoming year, we will have 4 Midwest summits, one on the economy, one on agriculture, one on energy, and one on cybersecurity and information technology. These will be joint partnerships with other chambers. We were able to have 13 chambers join us for the first time ever for the Energy Summit. We just did a call last week where we opened it up to other chambers. I had 42 chamber execs on the call with me and another 13 that want to join us. This is a great way for us. One thing we learned in COVID is we can do virtual really well, but we can also do in person really well. This is a collaborative effort that's going to bring high quality content, speakers, sponsors to chambers all across the Midwest, and that's how we make an impact going forward. The next cornerstone, all around business vitality, is all about our small businesses. We need to do so much more to support efforts of our small businesses. 70% of our membership, we have 1,986 members, 70% of those members have 25 employees or less. This is the fabric, the foundation, and the backbone of our community. So things like our business training, our Women Connects, opportunities to do ribbon cuttings and truly help prop up the businesses. This is the reason why we do this work for our small businesses. So when we look at business vitality, there's going to be lots of new opportunities for you to engage. It's a matter of engaging, whether that means showing up at events like this, which we will continue to have high caliber events, or it means things like committee work or simply responding to some of the calls to action. That's how you can get involved in the chamber and where we're going. Really excited also, the Women Connect, we have over 500 women that actively participate in our Women Connect programming, but really excited to announce a new partnership. One of the things I noticed in all of my meetings is that there is a significant void for C-suite, senior level executive type support for women in leadership. So with the partnership of Lady Boss and under Jody Duncan's leadership and our great partnership and affiliation, we're announcing that we've got a new program called Speakeasy, which will be focused for C-suite level women, so that we can focus on things like, how do we elevate and empower more women? How do we put more women into C-suite positions? And how do we put more women on paid boards of directors? This is an area that I'm passionate about, but it's also an area that we know that as we diversify our teams, whether that be adding diversity, equity, and inclusion to our teams in whatever that looks like, those teams are much more productive. That's the kind of work we want to see in the future. Well, as we look at another one of the cornerstones on community enhancement, this is an area that we are brought a lot of times. We're brought challenges and opportunities, and we're asked to lean into them. Whether that be we have a housing crisis, we have childcare challenges in our community, but there are also great opportunities like engagement more with our military. Making sure that we are focusing on the industry sectors that are important to us, like our agribusiness committee. As we look forward to some of these community initiatives, I will tell you one of the biggest things that drew me to this area was Fueling Our Future. When I looked at Fueling Our Future as I was researching this opportunity, here I thought of this community has got it figured out. Fueling Our Future is a tremendous collaboration between the Chamber of Commerce, Craig Whitney's legacy, I would say, the combination of the Chamber of Commerce and our partners at the Economic Development Corporation. Joe has been a friend of mine long before I got here, and it's now a great pleasure to work alongside him. But together, we're tackling things with all of your help. We're tackling those big rock issues. How do we get more students engaged so that we can retain them here in our community so that they can be an active part of our talent pipeline? The brand. What is the regional brand of this? I told you what I thought of Fargo. I'm guessing a lot of other people think the same thing of Fargo. How do we change that brand? How do we strategically and in a very targeted fashion make sure we can attract talent and businesses from all over the country to our great region? Workforce, the Career Academies was a major win. You saw the Moorhead Career Academy picture there. As well, we've got the Cass County Career Academy coming on board as well. This will transform the way that we work with students and get them ready for the workforce. We also have to continue to keep our eye on the ball of attracting new businesses to the region. This is the work that the EDC does so well, but it's also why we have to continue to have certified sites that are ready for development. And then finally, really leaning into being a welcoming and inclusive community. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is a really important part of the work that we're going to be doing in the future as well. We'll be having some of these critical conversations that are not always the easiest to have, but will make us a stronger region in the end. So the final piece, the final cornerstone that we're going to focus on is all around talented workforce. There will be lots of crossovers of this and the work of Fueling Our Future and what so many others do. There are many of you on a day-to-day basis that are working on something that has to do with talent and workforce. Whether you're K-12, whether you're a college, whether you're a nonprofit that's helping active job seekers, dislocated workers, we're just laying the groundwork even for attracting new talent in. The reality of it is, what I've noticed in the community is we are ridiculously program rich. Lots of passion, lots of programs, but we are systematically poor. We don't have a way to connect all of these together. So when we start to shift that mindset into what does that look like to build an infrastructure around workforce, the same way that we build infrastructure for roads, this is the work that we will be doing going into the future. I'm super excited to announce that we're going to unveil our new Ignite initiative. Many of you have heard about this, but we'll watch a little video and then I'll come back to wrap it up.
The Fargo Moorhead West Fargo Chamber is really passionate about being a catalyst for business, really for the entire community, for growth and prosperity. The new Ignite initiative is really focused on how we can collectively bring a systematic approach to workforce. And so it means bringing direct connection between students and parents and teachers to our businesses. Our local businesses are dependent upon having a vibrant, robust workforce system to have a talent pipeline that could feed them for now and into the future. One of the greatest assets of our Fargo-Moorhead West Fargo region is the diversity of industry that we have here. And so the Ignite initiative actually enhances all of those diverse industry sectors. So when we think about healthcare, IT, agriculture, skilled trades, finance, these are all sectors that will be able to be served by the Ignite initiative. Because at the end of the day, the industries are very different, but we need the same things. We need direct connectivity to a future talent pipeline. We need experiential opportunities. So we need our students and our job seekers to be able to experience the companies, but also to form critical relationships that will be long-lasting. We know for a fact that if students have the opportunity to have an experience with a local company, they are far more apt to be employed by that company, to be excited about that company. So whether you're in any of those industries I talked about, we want to work with you, we want to work alongside you, we want to better understand you, your greatest challenges, but also the opportunities that we have to come together to really answer the challenge around workforce. This is all about our community. It's about the prosperity and the growth of our region. It's about the prosperity and the growth of every single individual that's here in our community. We're so excited to work with everyone. So come on along, engage with us, and we're happy to be a part of it.
So we're pretty excited about this initiative. On your tables, you'll see the little postcards that talk about Ignite. There's a QR code. Scan that code, find out more about what we're doing, but more importantly, engage with us. Create a company profile where you can identify if your employees or your company wants to do things like speak in a classroom, job shadow, internship, apprenticeship, because Ignite was built for the community. This is not an initiative of solely the chamber. This is a Fueling Our Future initiative. This is a K-12 initiative. This is a college initiative. It's an active workforce initiative. We want to be able to be a resource for new American immigrant populations, for recently released incarcerated, for dislocated workers. We want to come together with the labor unions. I know Jason's here today. This is a phenomenal opportunity because we need this. We need to do everything we can to compete in this global marketplace that is screaming for our talent right now. So I'm really excited about the future of where we're headed. We chose this community. My family, my 2 young children chose to be here because of all of you. We chose to be here because of the potential and the opportunity that we see, and I am so blessed and honored to have each of you involved with us. So please enjoy the rest of the day. More than anything, thank you for being here. Thank you for your continued support, whatever that looks like, whether that's sponsorship, membership, engagement. We need you in order to do this work now and into the future. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone.